Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching.
Here it is, folks. Introduction to Lucille. 850R 1996 sedan. As you can see by the mismatch in this color on this door was replaced. So somebody damaged the door, replaced it with a red 601 door, and the car is 609. So it doesn't match. Red was not matching. The fender's messed up. It's got crinkle in it and a rust spot. So I'm going to replace it probably with another 601 red. We'll deal with that later. The good thing is it's an R. I was told these are ABM headlights. Whoop whoop. I've seen those in pictures. Never seen one in real life. Has a blue bulb back there. Somebody put some love into this car, but the last guy that bought it, I think he bought it on the shakedown, had a bad engine, blew up the engine, and man, 3 days. I don't know what he's planning to do after that. In that 3 days, he got hit on this door. I have no idea how that happened. But he didn't get it fixed. The door opens and closes, surprisingly, but it's bent. Letting the weather in. I need to do something about that because I don't need a bunch of weather getting in there. Probably had enough get in there over the, I think 3 years it was parked. These wheels, they come off of a C70, like 2008, 2009. So they don't fit on the P80 cars, so you have to get the bore opened up just so they can fit on there. So these wheels have been customized a little bit. You can get spacers and put them back on those cars. So I got it registered and insured, got a license plate on it. Man, I could park this car anywhere in this great state of Ohio or anywhere else. Really, nobody can touch it because it's registered and insured. A little trick I learned yesterday. Glad I got a good insurance agent. It's got these dual tips I've seen occasionally on the boards. That thing was falling down, so I put some duct tape to hold it up during the tow. Didn't want to lose it during the tow. Somebody's taking the antenna. I didn't know that. I got several of those. I'll fill that up. I'm also got to come out here and get this stuff like this off of it because this clogs up drains. Make sure the drains are good. I want to stop any infiltration. So it's missing a couple hub center pieces. No big deal. Oh man. I don't know if I could open this door or not from this side. Well, I did want to show you guys it is a true R. Seats need to be cleaned up. Floor mats are missing. I might have a pair of these floor mats. Got some salty corrosion stuff going on there. I got to clean this up. But I'm going to save it. Now, I came across this car because one of my viewers had a 93 850. Oh, I got a pass. I wonder if that's any good. Probably need to drop that in the mail. Dash looks good. Man, look at that. It's got a little glitch over here, but I'm going to figure out a way to fix that. Cut that out of another car and glue that in and back together. Somebody broke the wheel somehow. Wheel got stuck and they broke it. I'm going to fix that though. Make it look like normal. And the walnut trim, everything's intact on this car R-wise. Needs a headliner. Stuff like that. I ran across this car. One of my viewers had a 93 that he was very attached to in the New York area. He wanted me to come and fix his 93. Needs a transmission. Well, I haven't had time. You guys know I'm 6 months behind on my schedule. Anyway, this popped up and I told him about it. And he's always been a fan of the R versions of these cars. So he, man, asked me 1,000 questions. You know, guys, man, take care of some business. Learn how to conduct business. This guy probably older than me, calling me every day about how to conduct the business on this thing. But the guy that had the car heard about me, so he promised to hold it. And I told him I didn't think it was necessary to haw about the price, you know. It was $1,200, something like that. It's hard to get a R that doesn't have a salvage title. I think the body alone is worth $1,200 on an R. Not the body, the title. If you can get a title of an R, that's worth $1,000. Heck, you get a car with some wheels on it, that's worth $1,200, you know. So it costs money to go get them, stuff like that. But anyway, I was under the impression that the car had a burnt valve, something along that lines. So I told him I could fix it, I could look it over, tell him what else needed to be done, take care of everything that needed to be done, and he'd have a car hopefully under $4,000 or $5,000. That's not bad for a decent R. One thing led to another. 2 months gone by, this guy's sitting on the car for him, and I was contacted by a guy in Florida that had a T5R and sounded like excellent shape that he was willing to sell for a reasonable price. And in New York City, if you got a 95, you're in a better position emissions and inspection wise than you are than with a 96. So I encouraged him. I said, hey man, if you need a car quicker, buy that car. You know, it's coming in close to what I was expecting this to cost fixed, and it was in nicer condition, paint and everything. So he kind of backed out of this deal and jumped on that deal, and I kind of felt bad for the young guy that had Lucille here. So I told him, man, don't worry about that, I'll come get it, you know, as long as the price ain't really different than what he was paying. And you know, he had a deposit for the guy wants me to refund his deposit, whatever, you know. Couple $100 ain't the end of the world. So anyway, I was going out close to there when I went to pick this up. I stopped by Dale's place, then went by and picked this up on the north side of St. Louis. Now, I heard this car's originally from the Chicago area, so there may be some rust here or there on it, like that fender. But, you know, body-wise, I got 2 panels I need to replace. So right down here, there's something going on here. Somebody hit it, tried to knock it out, straighten it out, whatever. 25-year-old car, not the end of the world. So my plans is take the car, restore it the best I can, and flip it. Just maybe break even. I hope I don't lose any money on it. I don't think I will. Anyway, I get to the place to pick up the car. On my way there, I asked the guy, I said, man, you got air in the tires? No, I don't. I think the tires are flat. Come on, man, you know, help me out. I mean, I'm traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles. This was going to be a 24-hour travel day for me. Have some air in the tires when I get there, man. Help me out. I mean, you sitting there playing video games or watching TV, whatever you got going on, at least a couple hours a day. You selling a car for a decent price, go put air in the tires. Get it out the mud. Anyway, I get there, car's sunken in the ground, tires are low. So I walk over to it, pop the hood, and this is kind of what I see. Except the spark plug wires was moved out of the way. I guess they did a compression test. There was no spark plugs in it. The wires were thrown off to the side. All this grown up stuff was in here, rat's nest, everything else. Looked like it may have an ARD tune, we're assuming. So I'm like, how we gonna get this car out of this hole? Can you start it? No, I don't think it'll start. So anyway, my little winch does all it can to get cars up on the trailer. I wasn't really looking at trying to winch it out of the mud. So anyway, I went and got my jump box, threw my jump box in there. Look at it, somebody drove screws down through the battery into the battery tray. What kind of crazy is that? and they removed the clips from the transmission, and the transmission line clip is coming out. I didn't even notice that before. Wow. So somebody put a blow-off valve on there. My mechanic thought it might have had a front mount intercooler because he saw this snake contraption here. It didn't. Well, I put my jump box on it. I asked the guy to crank it. Wasn't cranking. Starter locked up. So after a couple of bangs, he still couldn't get it to start cranking. So I went inside and got it to crank by flipping the key a few times. And it turned over and it wouldn't fire up. So I couldn't check the oil because the dipstick's broken. Almost nothing in the coolant reservoir. I said, man, I got to get this thing started, try to get it out of this hole. So I actually had purchased a set of spark plugs that'll fit this car 2 hours before I got to the car, somewhere in Illinois. So anyway, I threw the spark plugs in, I hooked up the wires, and while we was trying to crank it, when I was on the inside, I realized I couldn't feel no throttle response. So I asked the guy, I said, is the throttle hooked up? He said, yeah, I see it moving. I said, wait a minute, I come out here, the throttle body stuff is gone. He don't know where it is, I don't know where it is. It's supposed to be attached here. It's gone. I still don't know where it is. So I tell him, I said, look, get back in the car, crank it, and hold the key until I say stop. So I get in front of the car and he's cranking it, and once it fires, I start doing the throttle by hand. Boom, 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 boom. It's running, it's making a bunch of noise, it's screaming, and I keep it running. So I'm trying to get it to idle. It won't quite idle, and you have no throttle control because the cable bracket stuff is missing. So I tell the guy, look, I'm going to climb in on top of the car. No sudden moves. But yeah, every time I let go of the throttle, the car would die anyway because the alternator wasn't kicking on. So I told the kid, look, this is what we're going to do. You go inside and crank the car. I'm going to climb in while I'm sitting in here on top of this, holding on. When I get this car running, shift it and drive, and try to drive it out of this hole it's in. It's sinking an inch or so in the ground. I like to get it out of there before I pull it up on my dolly. Man, I'm revving the car, vroom, vroom, vroom. He's putting it in drive. He's shaking the steering wheel. I don't know what that's all about, back and forth, back and forth. Anyway, I tell him, shift to reverse. Try to back up. Go forward, try to go forward. Reverse, forward. We're a minute or two. While this is going on, oil is pumping out from under the throttle body over here across onto the transmission and running down. Oil's just pumping out of this thing onto the ground. And I'm like, man, dog, quit shaking the steering wheel. Just go from reverse. And when I tell you go forward, go forward. We started rocking this thing back and forth, and it finally came up out of the ground. It started driving. I let him drive at about 10 feet. Then I let go of the throttle, thinking it was going to die. It kept running. So I said, shut the key off. So he shut the key off, and it was barely moving anyway. So it came to a stop, and we got the thing up out of the ground. So that was a kind of a freak show. He was blown away that I got the thing started. But it started. I'm planning on replacing the engine with oil squirting out from the engine across on the transmission. I think the engine's blown. So I'm going to replace the engine, probably manual swap it, put some wheels and tires on it, do some cosmetic stuff to it, replace a couple of these body panels. May or may not get it painted. Hopefully we'll have our R bumpers by there, put a new R bumper on there. Now this R bumper is not real bad, but it's cracked over there. Get this thing maybe painted and flip it. So it's going to be a manual swap 850R sedan. The rear wing is actually in the trunk. I don't know what's going on down here. It's this new fad where people are taking these panels off and they're disappearing. Mine is missing on Panther. Mine is removed from Queen Bee. Woo! I'm gonna put another armrest thing in there, clean up this interior. There's that rear wing. Put a new headliner in here. It's gonna be a nice car, I think. It's gonna be a nice R. Probably worth what I'll ask for it. Definitely worth what I'll ask for it. I'm not trying to beat nobody. So that's where we're at. Lucille coming soon. I'm gonna try to get it off of this car dolly later on today and park it here and go get the rest of the parts for fixing the engine. Put a manual transmission in it. It'll be good to go. Another thing I found out is that it's got two different keys. So when they replaced that door, somehow they lost the door handle. So it's got a different key for the ignition and this door, the trunk, the glove box, and a different key for that door. What I'm probably going to do is get this donor car from my buddy Manny and take all the keys off of it, swap them onto this car so that this car will have one key, and get a couple of those keys made and find a remote to program and have that all set as well. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna post a little tip in my Patreon site in the next day or two to explain to you guys this little trick I learned about registration.
If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.